Today, we're having an epic interview because Asher here is the man who did 300 grand in a month of March just 2 days ago. Wrapped up the month of March with 300K trading futures personal account. And so I have my jaw dropping here because, I recently just learned about this inside of Discord. He goes by the name Take Profit. And initially, I thought he was blowing smoke, but he actually showed us this video of him logging into his WeBull. And I don't know if we can actually do this, Asher. Do you think we can log on live? You share your screen and to show the proofs. Why don't we just do this? So right now today, as you know, I'm FSP on this channel. Let's see, before we actually dive into the interview, I want to show the goods, right? So let's see, Asher, can you log in, share the screen? So we really appreciate you, coming on. And by the way, Asher doesn't have to do this. He has his own community. He's also part of a community. So he's just showing us this. And let's just kind of show you guys the proof before we go into the interview and talk about the strategies, his risk management, and so forth. All right, guys, you see it here, the WeBull account, Asher. Do you want to do us a refresh here and just do it for the naysayers? In case you think this is Photoshopped or something.
Futures.
There you go. Account number.
Yeah, everything's there. And you see some deposits here because I haven't had the best couple of days, but this is what I do. This is how I work.
Yeah, again, no one's going to, be like, okay, locked in 300 grand and, and down maybe 70, like nobody's going to care. Like 230 is good, right? So, all right. So now that we have the proof out of the way, guys, I think the question that most people are trying to figure out is how do you do it, right? But before you actually go into how you do it, we can probably talk about like how you started in trading and what brought you to trading futures personal account.
So I started trading and looking at charts to start it maybe about 10, almost 11 years ago. I've always been a big crypto enthusiast, and I started off my trading with crypto, but really when I started on the US stock exchange, I started trading pharmaceutical stocks. It was something random, penny stock that I was just seeing a lot of movement in. I ended up depositing $1,000 into my Robinhood, and I made $1,000 into about 2,700 within a day. And then I lost about $900. So I had about 1,700, 1,800 in the account. And I was like, okay, this is really exhilarating. This is really fun, but I'm going to withdraw my profits. So I actually just withdrew everything out of WeBull, and I was finished trading pharmaceuticals. I was very interested. I was joining groups. I was looking at YouTubes. And after that, I continued to trade crypto, mainly because I was able to do pretty large leverage. It was expensive to do leverage, but at the time, crypto was really booming over in the 2020s, and I made a lot of money off of that. There's been ups and downs, just like my trading with futures, there's been ups and downs. And I looked online and I was reading on Twitter, because I'm on there so much, about prop firms. And at first I thought prop firms were like kind of too good to be true. So I checked them out. I traded on a few different prop firms, My Funded Futures, Take Profit Trader, and a few others I'll get into. But I traded with those. Take Profit Trader, I made a few payouts, but ultimately I blew my accounts. I started trading exclusively on Top Step, and Top Step was doing me well. I took about $48,000 in payouts from them across 5 different 50K accounts, and I was moved to a live account. Right before they started moving a lot more people to live and they changed their rules to $5,000 per account per week, I was trading with them really well. People think the live account is amazing. I think they're getting better, but at the time it was very difficult to trade it because I was used to having my drawdown being my account balance. Like if I had $50,000 account and I had 30,000 in my account, my drawdown until my account gets eliminated would be $30,000. So I would have a lot of play. When you get moved to a live, especially on Top Step, when you move from a $50,000 account to a live $50,000 account, your drawdown for the day is $1,000. So it was very difficult for me to manage good money and also being in a trade for longer, because we both know the NASDAQ whips both ways, hundreds of points.
Yeah.
And it can kill you in a second. So I ended up losing my live account after taking a few payouts. And after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to go back and I'm going to pass 5 150K accounts. Now I know the rules on the live, because 150K accounts, you get 3K drawdown. So what I did is I passed 550K accounts in 2 days. I like to trade them quick. I like to trade them aggressively. Then when I get into them, I like to trade them a little bit more careful. So I ended up making about $117,000 across the 550K accounts. It was like 27,000 or something per account in 5 days. I went to request a payout and they denied me. And this is after they've already paid me out, moved me to live, all these different things. And then they ended up denying me. And
why?
Again, I got a very, very vague email from Top Step, and I posted it all over Reddit. I posted it all over Twitter, and people were extremely upset about it. They were, because I like to document what I do on social media here and there, just to show people what is possible. I don't know what happened, but they said that I went against their trading policy for trading too many contracts. When I'm trading prop firms, I'm trading MNQ. You won't always get the perfect bottom, the perfect top when you're trading NASDAQ. So what I like to do is use MNQ so I can scale in. So if I'm going to trade 5 NQ, I can scale in 5 MNQ at a time when my bias is a certain way. So I can kind of figure out a better way to get a better price without being exactly on the dot of where the bottom is or the top is. So I was trading about, I think, 700 to 800 of MNQ a day, which with my figures, they say you can't go above 200 NQ contracts a day, or else your account will be reviewed.
Wait, hold on a second. When you say 200 NQ a day, do you mean total amount of trades? Not at the same time, right?
Total amount of contracts. You can't do it at the same time. So it's like 5 NQ, 5 NQ, whatever.
Okay. Because they do have a scaling plan. Top Step is a scaling plan. I wonder if they're saying that you broke that scaling plan or not.
No, so the scaling plan, usually when I'm first day in the XFA, I get about $3,500 in the account. So the next day, I can do up to 15 NQs or 150 MNQ for my trading. I'm allowed to. So Top Step X, when you're trading with Top Step, they will not allow you to buy more contracts than your account is allowed. Gotcha. It won't even allow you. So it'll just deny the order. So it has nothing against that. But apparently, I traded way too many contracts within a day because their rules are 200 NQ contracts. And I was trading 700 to 800 MNQ in a day, which again, that's a tenth of what an NQ contract is.
Right.
So if you do the math, 80 NQs, and that's about it, maximum. So they found a way to say that I was incorrectly trading the account and it was going against their terms of use, and they denied my payout. From there, I traded a little bit more and I requested another payout just to see like the next couple of days if they would let me take a payout, and they didn't. So from there, I can still log into the accounts, which is the funny thing, but I cannot do anything with the accounts. My accounts do not show up on Top Step X. They show up on the dashboard. It shows the profits that I've made. I was basically hitting like 89 to 90% on my profit ratio, and they never paid me. I was told by a lot of people like, hey, you should contact someone to see what is going on. And I tried many times. I have the number to the live accounts as well as the basic support, and there's nothing they could do. Being told, go talk to Wendy on the chat. Talk to the support on the chat. And I'm just like, it's a bot. Like they're not doing anything for me.
Yep.
So I just kept getting pushed to the side. And at that point, I pretty much had it with prop firms. Went through all of this, lost time. It's not even about the money at this point because the money will come and go. And there's other ways to acquire money. It is saddening for a lot of people that if they do get to that level of money that they've never had, it can be very disheartening and it can push you away from wanting to even trade because you feel like you just lost all your time. You just spent a bunch of money. You put a lot of effort into things and it just kind of discourages you.
Yeah.
So I went ahead and I was like, you know what? I am sick of this. Just like crypto, not your keys, not your wallet. If it's not your bank account, it's not your money. So you've had some great success taking payouts from Take Profit Trader, which is awesome. They're too difficult for me. It takes a special kind of person to trade with them, and the way that you trade and you flip accounts and you move things around, it's awesome. I can't do that. It's too much work for me. I started the WeBull and I did pretty decent with just putting funds in there. Then something happened and I was like, okay, you know what? This is my month. I kept telling my girlfriend that I'm with, I was like, I'm going to make this happen this month. I'm going to make $100,000 this week. I'm going to make it happen. So how I started this WeBull on March 4th, how I acquired this money is I took $2,000 to the casino. I was like, all right, I'm just going to risk it and see what I can do. Took 2,000, put it on black, and I hit. So 2,000 to 4,000 in like 10 seconds. Then I waited a spin. It hit on red. I spin the ball and I put 4,000 on black and I hit. So I walked out with $8,000. From there, I went directly to my bank, deposited the money, did a wire straight to my Webull account. And from March 4th, all the way up into it was about March 27th. I turned the 8,000 into about, I think at the peak was like $317,000 or $320,000. And my thought process behind the charts, I know I trade better than anything else that I do. I know there's losses, I know there's wins. I was up and down on the account in many different ways, but I did prevail and continue just to be confident in myself.
You did. I don't know if you realize, like you said it as if it's like some normal thing. Oh yeah, I took 8K and I brought it up to 300, 320K. Guys, I don't know if you hear this, okay? First of all, there are a couple things. The way that you gamble, I don't gamble, and I know you don't condone it, but Dana White, the UFC CEO, he said the reason why he got kicked out of his casino is I think he took 3 hands of blackjack. He made $100 grand and you walked away. And they're like, Mr. White, we don't like the way you gamble. and so don't come back.
Right.
So it's kind of like they
Right.
know they're going to lose money on you. But the good thing, though, is you actually took that 8 grand, you put it into a WeBull account, which most people won't do. Most people keep gambling and lose it all. But what's interesting is you took that $8,000 to $320,000. And I think the question that everybody has in mind right now is the 3-letter word, how, right? Like, how did you take $8,000 into 320? And I know you have some drawdowns, ups and downs. Everybody knows that. But if you can kind of run us through that process, like how do you go about your day? How many trades you take?
Sure. It'd be best for me to show you if I can share my
Absolutely.
I like using WeBull to log in to my trading view because it gives you all the market data for free.
I'm not sure if WeBull accepts Canadian, but I may look into it. I do have IB, Interactive Brokers.
So just to give you some idea, because I get asked the question all the time, hey, Asher, like if I have one NQ contract, what's your drawdown? And my standard is if you have one NQ in this market, it's a little bit harder because 10 points is my usual. I know that's what a lot of professionals do as well. 10-point movement, they either sell their position or they stop out of their position. This is a lot more difficult because of the volatility in this market. So I am more recommending for every one NQ contract you have, you do 20 points, which is $400. Yep. So if you do 5 MNQ, do 40 points. It's still $400, but you have 40 points. You have more movement. And if you're doing 3 MNQ, you can do 55 points, something like that, just to keep you in the trade, but knowing that your risk is also only a certain amount that you're going to lose. But how I go about my day is very, very simple. My strategy is similar to yours, but it's a little bit different. So what I like to do is I like to go from the daily to the 4-hour to the hourly to the 15-minute and to the 5-minute. So what I did, which is in my Discord, is another person helped me with this, but then I kind of tweaked it a lot because it wasn't working exactly how I wanted it to, which I use Grok and ChatGPT. All of those helped me build this because I don't know how to code. And I basically just had it give me levels in between each time frame. So starting with the daily, the 4-hour, the 1-hour, whatever. And your inputs would be the daily high and the daily low. So if we were to go into the daily and we would just try to look at, like right now, let's just look at the current daily high of the wick. Yep. We could take that wick and we could take the bottom of this wick. Sometimes, most of the time I do bodies because they're more significant to me. The wicks are just wicky. So then I go into my settings on here and I just put in the daily high. And again, anyone can access this. They just got to copy the Pine Editor script and post it in their trading view.
And those of you who are wondering about Asher's Discord, we're going to release it at the end so you can actually watch the entire interview. Give him a plug here. You can connect with him. He has a YouTube channel, IG, and all that stuff. Okay, so let's see his strategy. I'm trying to learn here. So
this is the daily top and bottom. Obviously, the daily is actually closed now. So daily wick high, daily wick low. And you can play with this. If we're in a weird position on the chart, kind of like this right here, this body close, you could always do the body close of yesterday's and the body close of the current day's high. So you can take 2 different daily candles and you can map this out. But what I usually like to do is just take the previous day's open and close wick or body, depending on where we're ranging. Because tomorrow we could range, or tomorrow we could just shoot up or shoot. It just depends on what happens tomorrow, because tomorrow's a big day for tariffs. So I start with that. It automatically plugs in all of my daily 4-hour, 1-hour, 15-minute. And you can do this manually. I used to do it manually all the time, but I noticed how much time it took. It made me feel like I was wasting too much time trying to get exact points. And I was going through from the 1 minute to the 5 minute, trying to get points and then delete different levels. This just makes it simple because everything is even. These algorithms work off of different levels. They have pre-programmed levels in them. So why can't I have pre-programmed levels as well? So that's what I basically did. So then you go from your daily, and as you're looking in, you can go to your 4-hour. Obviously, you can go all the way down. So once I have that daily high and low set in, you can see how we range, how we're moving within these levels. This isn't rocket science. My whole thing about trading is simplicity. Everything is simple. If you make it too complicated, it gets too complicated, then you get overwhelmed and anxious. So just simplicity. We don't know if it's going to hit any of these levels, obviously. But when a level is more significant, like the 4-hour right here, this orange line, you can see how significant this level is because we keep magnetizing to it, using it as resistance, support, resistance, support, and eventually becomes a really good support.
So the lines that you're drawing here is a combination of multiple time frames, daily, 4-hour, hourly, 30-minute, 15-minute, 5-minute, and it's the high and the low of that.
It's the high and the low of the daily high and the daily low. Then it automatically plugs in all the coordinates in between.
Oh, okay.
And it's based off of this Pine script. that I had made, and it's pretty simple. It just gets the daily high and low, and then it gets the midpoint of each section.
Wait, so I just want to confirm your strategy here. You said
Yeah.
you're looking at the 4 hour, but you said you only
Mhm.
do the high and low for the daily chart. So do you also plug in the 4 hour high and low?
No, so check it out. So I just do the dailies.
Okay.
Everything in between is automatically programmed. It might not be perfect. It might not be exactly like, oh, this is a 4 hour level, or this is so on and so forth. Like this is exactly for the 15-minute levels, the hourly levels. What I do is very simple. It's just the daily high and the low.
Okay.
And there's colors in between, but those only have significance to me from visuals, if that makes sense. So when I do the daily high and low, so the daily high 1644 or 19644 and 19261, I take those, even if it's not the exact 4 hour. Like if we go to the 4 hour, it's not going to be the 4 hour high and low. You can see that. It's not even touching it, this 4 hour line. But when you're basing it off of lower time frames, you can give some significance to your chart. You can give some guidance visually to your chart.
So then it's not just the daily high and lows then. You are plotting the 4 hour and hourly highs and lows, right?
Everything is in there, but it might not be perfectly to the four. Like if we were to plot this 4 hour high and low, we would plot it here and plot it here. And obviously I don't have an orange line. The orange line is the 4 hour, and this would need to be an orange line as well. This blue
Okay,
line.
I got it. So basically the high and the lows of the body of different time frames, not just the daily.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes. Basically, this is all representation for visualization because people have a hard time looking at the chart and understanding what it might do next. Like if it does this, then I do if then statements. If it does this, then this will happen. If it doesn't do this, then this will happen.
Right.
So you can make all these lines the same color if you want it. It's just about visuals. So if you can feel like and say, oh, well, in between these dailies, this orange line is programmed in as a 4 hour, it might be stronger than the 1 hour. So if we break the orange line, we might be coming back down and retesting the purple line, which could be like if we break this line, we could come back down and retest this line, which would be, a 50-point move. So you could see the significance of the colors of the lines.
Right.
It might not be perfect, but it's just a visualization to give you a little bit more description of what you're trying to see on your chart. That's all it's trying to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. So when it gets to those lines, what kind of interaction are you looking for? Are you going for a reversal trade? Are you looking for a follow through? Like how do you use these lines?
So that is my next step. I use parallel channels. I know you do too. I've been using parallel channels for a long time. And I like, let's say the lows, the wick low. And basically I just try to get as many candles that touch, and I can adjust, get as many candles that touch that you possibly can within that range. So I don't really care about this wick. I don't really care about that wick. I don't really care about these wicks up here. I care about everything down here that's touching the most.
Right.
From the bottom to the breakout at the top.
Yep.
So everything that is moving alongside that line, and obviously you can get a little bit more detailed and go to the 1 minute and see even further in. Every time you drop down a time frame, you get more specific data. Like you can see in the 1 minute, bouncing, whatever. This is looking pretty well for me. It's just for visuals. It's nothing more than visuals. Then how I trade is whenever there's a rising channel, whenever it breaks that rising channel to the downside, I short it.
Okay.
And depending on where my lines are being significant, like this orange line, you can see I have it labeled as a 4 hour. Also, it's a pretty strong support. What I would be looking for is a break of the parallel channel to the downside and seeing what the 100, so I can see a little bit more significance in the move and what is happening within those candles.
Okay.
So if I was seeing this breakdown in this area, if I was seeing this and I was seeing the support that it's at, which would be, I believe that's a 15-minute support that we're at on my fine editor, I don't see the 15-minute being very significant. I would expect this to come back and try a liquidation candle to the 4 hour. So if I was in looking for this trade and I'm like, okay, if it breaks this movement and we already had a significant downtrend candle, I'm going to be looking for a break and a hold below this parallel channel. Then I will get in and get as many points as I possibly can, trying to approach this next significant line, which is, for me, the 4 hour. It's the most significant next level that I could go to. It could break through lower, but this would be my target. So that would be 381 all the way down to 357. So that's a good 30-point move.
Yeah.
Almost a 30-point move. It's like 25 points, which is huge. Those are great moves. I'm looking for anywhere between 10, 15 to 25 points. If I get more, great. That will only be with runners, though. It won't be with a large size. If I don't get it and it bounces back on me, at least I'll be in a, because even if you got in this trade at this candle where it closed and it broke down and you missed getting out of your short, you could have still gotten out of your short even on this ride up and still been in profit. So this works in many different ways. Sometimes it's hard to see because everything's not perfect on a chart, but you can see it worked really well over here. What I really, really, really like when the setup works is a break and a retest, because I want to see it break and retest and really retest it and break it even lower. So this was a little bit harder to see here because we came back inside the channel and then we broke down again, but you can see we had a retest right here. And you could have shorted here, you could have shorted on the retest and got in and been totally fine with holding this trade for as long as you wanted to until we broke down to the bottom of this area.
So can we go back to the trade on your entry there? I guess some of the people may be wondering on that slight doji middle channel before it broke down. Like let's see, let's see you entered right there. What would your stop be? And would you have like an ATM strategy to automatically stop out? Did you manually stop out? Like how do you manage risk on that trade?
So I am a day trader. So I know that there are going to be whiplashes. There's going to be significant moves, even if it goes against me. What I would be doing is starting a position here. So if I were starting a position here, I'd probably do 1 or 2 NQs just based on what I'm used to trading. And if it did go against me, I'd be looking for the supports in these areas. So just keep it as simple as you can. Just look at the last support and resistance areas. So we had our significant candle here, which we have resistance and support. So how I see it always is support turns into resistance and resistance turns into support, depending on how many times we use that line, which we were resistant, support, resistant, broke down, resistant again, resistant, kind of held this as support, and then we broke down. So the only time that I would really be willing to get out of the trade is if we came back up and retested this resistance as a support and we bounced, which is exactly what we did after the flush. We tested it again, we bounced, and then we flushed again. So when those types of things happen, I will actually keep those lines on my screen and I will bolden them just to see the significance of that line so I can see it for future use, which you can obviously see we use it over here.
So on that 1 to 2 NQ that you started, you said, let's say if it pops higher than the previous support turned into resistance, if it pops higher than that, then you would stop out manually?
If it pops out, if it pops above and I'm down like $1,000 or something like that, yes, I'll get out.
Okay.
But if we pop up and we resist this line again, I will add into my short going from this line. I will add into it and I will watch it fall. If I were to add in here, I'd probably start getting out of it once we start breaking this parallel channel again, just because the momentum in that area is still holding. There's still buyers there.
Right.
If that were to happen, if we were to pop above this, my trade would almost be invalidated because I would need to wait later on for this parallel channel to break again. I usually only like taking trades when we start breaking a channel either way, but adding into positions, I'll do it with no emotion, which can screw me up. Like today, it screwed me up. I was up 15,000. Then at the end of the day, I was down 12,000, which, you know, it happens. You got to be willing to lose to win. So yeah, I would be adding in as long as we are staying below this resistance because of how significant it's been in the past as a resistance, a support. Just depends. You got to look left to understand how important that line is.
And what's interesting in what you just said there is that everybody wants to make that 320 that you did, but they don't want to do the negative 12K that you got today, right? It's like, you know, if you're going to have like a multiple 6-figure month, you don't have to go at the same level as Asher, right? I mean, think maybe like a tenth of that. If you want to make like say 30 grand, if you lose like 1,200 on a day, if you manage risk properly, that's okay. Right. So everybody wants to make those big money, but you have to be able to withstand the drawdown. That's why, you know, I love talking to traders where they're realistic. You know, they tell you the up and the downs because anyone can tell you, oh, I locked in 300K or whatever. But if you don't see the entirety, which I appreciate from you in terms of your transparency, so that people know, you know, yeah, he did go to 300, but he did lose 12K here. Tomorrow, you may be back up 30. So that's just every trader's journey. And, you know, I think we appreciate your transparency on that. So,
and just to explain a little bit on the other way, because I love shorting. It's my favorite thing is to short. This market's a little bit harder because these bear market rallies are crazy, but I do like to short. So I like to long as well. So this is what I'm shorting. Rising channels when I'm shorting, lowering channels, it's the exact same thing, just opposite setup. So you could take the, you know, the top of that and try to get as much as we can. Just something for visuals. Just something, anything for visuals. We can get whatever we want. We could take this, bring this down some if you wanted to. Just something for visuals, just to get an understanding of what might look interesting. So we could do something like that. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's the same thing. We get a channel, we get a breakup, we get a shift of structure, which is closer to this 4-hour, this orange line. I'm going to keep calling orange lines 4 hours, even if they're not, but it's a significant line because it is a stronger line on my Pine editor. So I would be looking for the shift here. And obviously this can always happen where we're coming in and we're going up and then we break back down, or we break and we bounce off of that and then we break down further. It's happened to me so many times.
Yeah.
And that's when you have to keep risk a little bit smaller depending on the volatility of the day and what exactly is happening with the Mag 7. It all depends. Right. But I usually typically like to wait for a breakout, a retest, and then for this to go up. That's what I usually like to look for. It didn't do the retest here. It just kept going. But that's what I am usually aiming for, is the break and retest and the bounce back up. This happens every day. This happens all day, every day, no matter what market we play in. Every single day, this stuff happens. You can go on the smaller time frames. Obviously, they're not as powerful. You go to the 5 minutes, they're way more powerful, especially if you can catch the move within a lower time frame and then get into it during the bigger time frame. They can be huge moves. This was a 504 to 578. It's a 78-point move. Well, at the tick, it's about a 100-point move just off of these 2 5-minute candles, which is huge. That can make or break your year. So depending on how you're sizing. But it's the same thing that I do. You can do it on any time frame you want, parallel channels, but in contingency with the lines that I put for the daily high and the daily low, gives me some structure to read what might happen next. If this breaks out, then what will happen? Then it might go to this orange line. It doesn't have to, but there's a higher chance of it breaking to the upside if we have some momentum towards it and pushing past it. And if we break that orange line, I tell myself, if we break this 4 hour, what's going to happen at the 15-minute? Because if we broke one significant line, what are we going to do to the next weaker line? And you can obviously see we broke right past it and went to, this would be the 1 hour. So we went from the 4 to the 15-minute to the 1 hour. And we broke the 4, we broke straight through the 15, and then we resisted at the 1 hour. So it's as simple as trading can get. I keep the 5-minute open on my trading view all the time. I'm constantly watching the Mag 7. So I have Facebook, Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, Amazon, Netflix, all of these I have here all day. And I'm always watching them. And then I also have the VIX at the very top.
There you
so
go.
I'm always
we watch
watching,
the same stuff, man.
yeah, the exact same things. And I've learned over time, you don't need to watch all however many stocks are on the market. You just need to watch the top one. So
do you have a like an average stop loss and an average, like for me, like you see me here on stream all the time, I say, guys, lock 10, 15, 20 points and rotate your accounts. That's what I do. But like, do you have like an average stop loss or take profit? Like, how do you go about this?
It all depends on how many contracts I'm in, because there's some days where I'm trading 20 contracts at one time, 20 NQs, which is pretty significant. Yeah, it's
on a personal account.
On personal, and it's like holding on to the edge of your seat type of trading. So with those types of entries, I am quick to pull the plug. I'm very, very quick. I still get chopped up, I still get screwed up, and I still go on tilt. I can feel myself going on tilt, but for me, I don't like to lose. So it's hard for me to stop going on tilt. But if I am in, just for standard all traders, because for me, it's going to be, if I'm in 5 NQ, I'm willing to have it drop 20 points because I'm willing to average in another 5 NQ after the 20-point drop. So I'm only down 10 points. I'm willing to take heavier risks to get a higher payout of what I'm trying to accomplish. For the average trader, I always recommend I'll say it again, 1 NQ for 10 to 20 point drawdown or 10 to 20 point profit, always. So if you have 2 NQ, then you could just go for 10 points. If you have 3 NQ, you could go for 7 points. You have 4, you can go for 5 points, depending on how much you're willing to lose or willing to make. It all depends on what you're going at, what your goals are, and how fast you want to get there.
Right. So in the beginning, I assumed you didn't have that much margin to do like 20 cons. So like, how did you build that 8K into the 300?
Yeah, so a lot of it was because of Trump, because he was making the market move 100 to 200 points every, 15 minutes. He was making it move so crazy. So a lot of them would be like 2 to 3 NQ contracts, and I'd be capturing like 80 to 100 points, just because I would see the momentum going and going and going. There have been days where I've been in 5 NQ contracts and I just got ripped open by the market dropping on me, and I'm not able to execute the way that I want to. So the way that I built this account up is I start with 2 to 3 NQs, but it wasn't NQs that I was trading. I was trading MNQ.
Okay.
So I'd be trading anywhere from 15 to 30 to 45 MNQ, and I would build into my positions. So I wouldn't just be going 45 MNQ and getting into a position. I'd be going 15 MNQ,
Sure.
and then maybe adding 5, then adding 5, adding 5, adding 5
Sure.
as it's going in my favor. Or if it's really going against my favor, depending on my bias for that certain situation on the chart, I would be adding into my position. Now, if I'm up 30 points on, let's just say 4NQ, if I'm up, I will scale out one at a time, or I'll scale out 5 MNQ at a time, and I will leave some runners going. It's kind of like you. When I see you trade, you're shorting the pops and buying the dips.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're really, really good at it. Like better than anyone that I've seen go at the market the way that you do, especially when you rotate your accounts and you're like putting risk on here for my challenges, but I'm going to go in even heavier with my actual firms, with my actual live accounts. So I respect that. That's great. It's not easy doing that. You make it look easy, but it's not easy doing that at all. It's not easy what I do at all either. The reason why I'm able to manage this so much is because I've seen a lot of money. I've also lost a lot of money. So my emotions, when you go through these waves of imbalances with your money, you become a little bit detached. You forget about how it's making you feel, and you just execute according to how you want to plan your trade. You don't get fearful. You don't get excited. Like 2 days during the week that I made $31,000 a day. And it's weird because usually you'd be very, very excited. And I don't want to sound pretentious or like anything to your crowd. You just don't feel as much emotion when you have been through so many different ups and downs with the market, or even in your life. So it's not that I'm like disrespecting anyone about me making a certain amount of money and not feeling anything about it. It's just that you get extremely detached when you have been through a lot of struggles financially, and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, because it also makes you a little bit more humble making that money, because you know how hard it is to make that money. You know how much time it would take to make $30,000. It takes people 2 to 3 years just to have it in their bank account if they're consistently saving their money, working a job from 9 to 5. So I get a little bit more humble because I don't have to go to work. I don't have to go to a job. You know what it's like when you have a job, what it means to have your freedom, because you don't have much freedom when you're working for another person, because you're spending most of your day working, then you're spending your money on rent or food. So you're living to work, and I don't want to live to work. I want to work and then be able to live my life. So I try to stay as humble as possible. I don't, show out. I don't brag about anything that I do. That's why I'm so under the radar with social media. I don't post any of my gains on social media. I don't post any of it there. All of it stays within my Discord. People that understand trading. People that understand what it means to be up a certain amount or be down a certain amount, or having a bad day or a good day. They understand like what it takes to be in this market. Where other people on my social media, family, things like that, they understand it, but they also don't understand the significance that goes into working on your trades and disciplining yourself and finding new avenues to make money for yourself. They just don't understand it. So I just keep it as far away from me as possible, and I just do it with the community that I'm with. That's why I really enjoy being with your community, because there's a lot of good traders, a lot of bad traders, a lot of in-between traders, and a lot of people understand that there's possibility to make a lifetime worth of money, but there's also a lot of people in there that are scared to make this type of money. And that's what holds them back. So if I can be a source of understanding of what you can do with your computer and your two hands, then I'm happy for you. It's great. I've inspired a lot of different people in my own Discord to do better, and a lot of them have taken that into account and have done better. They're more patient. They understand that it's not just given to you, that even when you're winning and it seems easy, when you lose, everything seems a lot more harder. So you just got to be humble. You got to know your crowd. You need to know who you're dealing with. So I keep it very, very, very low key. The only people that know it is my mom, her husband, my girlfriend, and my dogs.
And now our community knows it, right? And also we're going to release this YouTube video. They know it too, but sometimes it's better that way, to be honest. And nowadays with social media, with all the gurus and whatever, a bunch of people got called out. You don't know who to believe. And so sometimes maybe the underdogs are the one who are actually making good money. And so, I mean, I can tell you for sure that our community appreciates you. I appreciate you. Job knows nuggets there. And to be honest, when I first looked at your post, I didn't know what to think, because even on your Discord profile, it's like this little cartoon. And so when you're like, and I'm like, I was reading this post, like 300K, and you said, I truly believe you have made me a better trader. I know every trade you take is not perfect, but your ideas behind every trade helps me immensely. There's a screenshot, also video proof of my account. You're the man. Like when I saw that, I'm like, the guy who locked in 300K for March says I helped them in some way, not exactly the same way you trade. And that humbles me. And that's why we have this community. By the way, like, how did you find out about us? Like, how did you, because I know you've been joining us recently on the stream. Like, how did you find about our community here?
You know, it's interesting. I wish I could tell you. I'm pretty sure that because I look at so many trading channels, I used to watch Top Step a lot on YouTube, but I've realized that their top traders are trash. They suck. And they trade really, really light and they lose money like every day. So I was so sick of watching them, but you popped up on my page just very randomly. And honestly, what brought my attention to you is your profile picture, how clean your advertisement was just on the thumbnail. And I was just like, okay, I'll look at this guy. I'm sure he has a paid Discord that you have to pay $150 a month for. I'm sure he's promoting prop firms. I'm sure that he's making his money off of prop firms, which is great. However you can cut it and you make your money, great. But when I first watched you, I logged on and I'm not a huge religious person. I'm Jewish, so I really appreciate at the end of the streams when you say shalom. It's funny to me because I'm like, man, that's the last thing he says before he gets off. It's
Yeah.
pretty cool. But I know you're Catholic, Christian.
Yeah, Protestant Christian.
So you're religious and that's awesome. I love it. It brings a more healthy crowd, more healthy mindset. So the first day when you were like, okay, we're going to pray together, all this stuff, I was like, man, this is interesting. Like the music in the background was very calming and relaxing. And I was just like, I'm going to keep him up. I'm going to see what he has to offer. I'm going to see what he's doing. And if he does good, then he'll have my interest. If he does bad, maybe I'll look at him another day, see if he just had a bad day. But you've been extremely consistent, but I literally only watch you and I watch Patrick Whelan at the beginning of the day until you get on. I open up your channel, I wait for 9:30 to pop up, and then you come in. I have Patrick Whelan over on the side, but then I usually click out of his because he just talks a lot. He's always talking about BDH and all this different stuff and his cars. And I'm just like, I don't want to hear about it. I want to know about the numbers on the screen and how we're making money today. I don't want to know about anything else. So I watch you, specifically you. And then I talk to my chat as well. And when I'm away from my chat, I always advertise you. I'm always like, guys, go check this guy out. He's awesome. And there's a few of the people in my chat that actually watch you every day. My guy, Omo, he was in there today watching you. And he's very excited to see this interview.
Tell us about your chat, man.
This is my Discord. So we are called ITM, which is I'm Touching Millions, or In the Money. Either or. We have a lot of fun in here. There's some significant traders in here. It's me and one other admin that own this channel. And we have a lot of great traders in here that do a lot of good work, that have a lot of good ideas. And we basically just work off of our ideas off of each other. Our chat is not paid for. It's completely free. We've been trying to keep it free for as long as we can, mainly because we make money. So we don't care to charge people.
Yeah.
So we're just like, let's just let people come in. People that need help, if they need help, they can just come in and trade with us.
You got like IG, YouTube channel, or anything like that?
Yeah, so my Instagram is just my first and last name. So it's Asher Weisberger. And I don't have a YouTube. I tried with YouTube. I'm not a good YouTuber. People think that I can be, but I am not the type to be on camera calling out my things. I do lives in my Discord. My Discord is like the main source for everything that I do trading. So if I'm live, I'll go live. Usually I go live every day. I'm not going live this week just because I'm trying to just work on some things around my house and I'm working on my own trading and, just trying to keep it very, very, very simple. But yeah, I go live on here. We always tell people when we're going live. Impetuous is the other admin in here, and he also goes live, and he does a great job with his trading as well. He uses book maps and order flow and different types of ways of making things happen for himself.
Right.
We all have different ways of reading the chart, but we all make it happen.
Right. Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's a simple chat. We have a lot of different things in here. We have different types of knowledge and education in here as well, if people want to take an idea. Also, within this chat, I have basically like how you can set up your lines, like how I was showing you, but manually. This is exactly how you do it, identifying support and resistance levels and how to break them down. I posted the Pine script editor in here as well. So if people want to copy it and put it in their trading view and try it, they're more than welcome to. We give help in here for free. There's a lot of people that will not. They'll make you pay $20 a week, $40 a month, whatever it be. It doesn't matter. We don't make them pay anything. So we just wanted an open community with traders that are willing to learn.
So, I mean, I think a lot of people are inspired by your results, obviously, and you sharing your strategy. I mean, like, before we wrap it up, what would you tell a person that's maybe still struggling, right? They're still struggling. Maybe they got some payouts. Maybe they haven't. Some of them are on the verge of maybe quitting. Your results are very inspiring. What would you tell them? I would say like one piece of maybe mental advice and one also maybe a practical advice that you think will help them. What would you say to these people?
Like I said at the beginning, you have to be willing to lose to win. Have to. There's no other way around it. You're running a business. Business owners lose money every day. They also make money every day, and they might have a good year. They might have a bad year. It doesn't define who you are. Basically, what I can say is I've been doing this for a while, and I've had some really bad years and I've had some really amazing years. The only thing that's going to put you in between success and failure is stopping, is not continue to push forward and learn more about what you're trying to do. A lot of people journal. I recommend journaling any bad trade that you had, your emotions behind that trade when you were taking the trade, why you were feeling emotional, what sizing you were doing when you were feeling that emotion. How do you feel when you are a smaller size than when you are a big size during a trade? How do you feel when your trade is going your way, but you didn't size accordingly? I would really try to understand how your body reacts and how your mind reacts, depending on how you are trading. As much as you don't want it to be emotional, it's really hard just to be a robot. It's very difficult. It will never happen. Even if you're trading with a bot, you're still going to be emotional for that bot because you want it to do well. So you need to really understand who you are. Trading, someone said this to me, and a lot of people have said this to me in the past, and I've heard it online, but trading really help you understand who you are because of how you can control yourself. So however you're living your day-to-day life, if you are waking up at consistent times and you are getting on the charts to understand what you're looking at and you are continuing to do better for yourself, you will see results as long as you are being smart. Because if you're not being smart about what you're doing, if you're just pushing buttons, you might as well just go to the casino. You might as well just go play roulette. But if you can find reasoning behind your trades, you can journal it, you can understand it. And if you did do something wrong that seemed like a good observation for your trade, then I would just journal it and try it again the next time. And if you lose 10 out of 10 times, then it might not just be for you. I'm not saying trading, but whatever strategy you're using. I do not recommend bouncing from one person's strategy to the next person's strategy to the next because you won't be able to educate yourself on why that strategy is working or not working. It's not a one-time quick fix. I know this person's strategy. I've seen them do it. I can do the same. It doesn't work like that because the market is different every single day. But you really just need to learn about who you are yourself, take care of yourself the exact same way that you would take care of your trading account. Because whatever you do in the real world is the exact same thing you're going to do in the virtual world while trading. Even though there's people like you that say, okay, I'm buying here, I'm buying the dip, I'm going to sell this push. It doesn't matter. You are ultimately in charge of your own fate. It's all up to you. So don't give up, even if you're feeling failure. It just takes one good trade to get you back in the right place. Always. And that doesn't mean full port, but it means that you can have one good trade to get your mindset back to normal, and you can take more good trades after that because the fear will destroy you. Fear will not allow you to get outside of your comfort zone. It's going to hold you back. If you want to see some significance in trading, then you will continue to work your hardest to find new ways of manipulating the market in your favor and also your mindset, because your biggest barrier is your brain in this whole thing.
There you
It
go.
doesn't matter who you are.
There you go.
Yeah.
Self-mastery. Self-mastery is something that all of us need to do. And if you've been trading with us in this community, you know that there are people of this caliber like Asher, right? Locking in multiple six figures and killing it, locking in those profits. And every day, this is what we do. If you enjoy this interview, go hit up Asher on his Discord, on his socials. And you can also join us every day at 9:30. We live stream, and that's what we do. So let's grow together as a community. As we always say on the stream, let's trade together, bank together, and pray together. And just keep on doing that path until, we reach our goals. So again, thank you very much, Asher, for coming on today. And I'm sure maybe we'll do it again in the future, but definitely I'll see you on the live and let's keep banking again. Okay.
Awesome. I appreciate your time, man.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.